Hello everyone, welcome back to FPL Jedi Show. This is the preview of Gameweek 36, the run-in. My name is Hafiz and I would like to welcome my buddy Azmin to the stream. How's your feeling after Gameweek 36, 35, bro? Yeah.
The faster we get on to game week 36, the better. What a terrible week it was for me. I only did one transfer and ended up dropping points even more so. But it was really, really bad, and I dropped quite a bit of rank. I'm still in the top 100k, but I need to be careful. I'll slide off completely.
Yeah, I think we still left with 3 weeks with 36, 37, 38. There's plenty of things to play. I think the likes of you, even though you mentioned about sliding in, your results still within 100k, maybe that will be your focus now. If you can still make it 50k, you will try your best. By myself, I have really excellent week, and at the same time, I'm continue to have green arrow. I think 7 or 8 consecutive arrow, but it is from somewhere 2 million rank now at 552 and easily mean this is my best position this year, despite this in the 500k range, but hopefully I haven't thrown the towel, and hopefully I can continue for the rest of the 3 weeks running. I think that's the most important thing.
Yep, that's right. It really is something to really think, be careful with as well. For this last couple of weeks, and we've already seen some teams rotate a bit. But we just need to find the right people, because when you can have a case where one team has slacked off a bit more than the other, leading to some crazy scores if you pick the right player from the opposing team.
Yep. I think we will touch some of the results happened last game week 35. We take a look at some of potential rotation that already happening last week, whether it's involved, I think, the likes of Liverpool. We can see what happened and whether that will be a factor moving forward. There's some players who are on target this week, especially, but I think we can reveal this one mean that maybe people are hoping there's potential game week 36 could happen, but we can finally see. I think the FA has decided what will happen for Villa and Spurs match, because Spurs are appealing to brought forward their matches so they can have better recovery period. Hopefully they will be playing in the Europa League final, of which will happen in somewhere in game 37 week. And what we know right now, that there will be no double game week, and the fixture are brought forward to Friday night, but it's still in game week 37. And you can see there the fixture update at in Villa Twitter, and at the same time the fixture in the FPL, you can see that Villa and Spurs are now would be the first match that will play in Friday night. We will have Friday night deadline in next week with Spurs and Villa. If I'm right, it's at 2:30 a.m. Malaysian time, so deadline will be 1.5 hours Friday night. Yep. So what's your comment on that?
Well, Friday night 1 o'clock deadline, I can work with that. I think that's quite all right. I'm actually, despite the fact I do have a chip to play, a triple captaincy, I, I'm I'm happy not to have any double game week, because I've been quite mediocre to downright crap with the last few double game weeks. So I guess, and I think at the end of the day, there are still some good scores to be had that will merit the triple captaincy. So just a case of finding the right one. With regards to the Aston Villa Spurs thing, well, Spurs better get into the final and not get suddenly upset by, what was that, Bordeaux Glint. So after all this, and Chelsea as well. Let's see if they get, I think they play tonight, right? both
Yep.
Chelsea, Spurs, and Manchester United. So you got Chelsea, Manchester United in game week 30, playing game week 37. They're the other early match for that week, and which is to their respective finals. But then it might be different. The timing might be different. I'm not sure. I haven't checked that. But we've while we're talking about Europe, let's also mention the. I don't know. Do you have a slide for that? That we Arsenal have
I don't have.
finally
I don't have.
fallen. So
I don't
Arsenal
have.
have finally fallen this morning and were not able to progress and losing to PSG in France. It was quite a tight game from what I heard, from what I saw. I haven't watched the match, just from the reports, but Arsenal were good for the first like 20 minutes or so, and then things went against them, and unfortunately they lost. So now you got Arsenal out, and at the moment Arsenal are still second, and I think they just need a point to clear, but so
Yep.
to
Interesting.
secure the second spot or maybe a one win, but at the end they I don't think there's any risk of them losing the Champions League spot, and their last game of the game week is against Southampton, so you
Yep.
think that'd be easy. So, but it does set up an interesting game week, which we can look at for game week
Mm.
36. Yeah, so we can move on to that later.
I think you can see now. To be fair to both of them, they have same recovery period. If let's say Spurs and Manchester United qualify to Europa League final, of which we expect them because they have been leading the first leg.
First leg. Yep.
Spurs 3-1 against Bordeaux and United against Atletico Bilbao 3-0 somewhere, and they play at home. But for Spurs they play away, so I think there's a potential risk Spurs might not make it, but with the 2 goal advantage on paper, we should expect them, and that could be an excellent fixture. And especially what will happen if let's say both qualify, the 37 potentially is a good fixture for Villa and Chelsea, because we might expect also heavy rotation for Spurs and United, who will play away. For both Villa and Chelsea will play at home, which can be an advantage, and people already have that thought planning in 37, and maybe 36 they won't make any move, but that could be the situation that people are looking at. All right, let's go. But you already touched about Chelsea, Manchester United, and also Spurs, who are still in contention and they expect to advance to the final. But for Arsenal, I still remember you predict that Arsenal didn't qualify from last week's stream, if you can recall that. To be frank, I actually watched that match so called. I woke up at 3 a.m. Malaysian time. Arsenal try to score early. If they say they can score a goal, the time might be different. But the excellence of the PSG goalkeeper Dorama is easily could be the sway before this match, because he is the factor that Arsenal lost at home 1 year, and then he controlled the goal and also the backline for PSG, and end up PSG 1-1. So in the end, PSG versus Inter Milan, right? Yeah, for the Champions League final for this season. Yeah. Okay. I think let's jump to how we did in game week 34 quickly.
Yep.
For myself, I had a really good week, I can say, because the average point last week was 41, and I scored 63 points, and I jumped rank from 689 to 552, and now I believe the 500k bracket could be something that I can achieve for this season. Hopefully we can do that. I just read out my team. Raya in goal, 1 pointer, and Munas 1 point also. Disappointing because both play at home, but Palace drew. Munas got a yellow card. Raya conceded 2 goals. Konsa, I think this is a decision that I made, whether I want to play both backline of Arsenal, but I hate it, and I play Aston Villa, and they won 1-0. Aston Villa kept the clean sheet. Konza could have a 1 or 2 bonus point, but in the end, no bonus point. Cash got that 1 bonus point, and the rest of Villa players. Guardiola, I think excellent. If you have any City defense, if let's say you double up with Ruben Diaz, maybe you have double clean sheet from both player. But Guardiola got that 2 bonus point because the 3 bonus point won by KDB that got a goal and 3 bonus point, 11 points there. Mo Salah blank. We can touch on Liverpool players because heavy rotation for Chelsea, and I'm also worried whether Liverpool probably they're on the beach, but can Salah still produce points for the remaining of the 3 weeks, of which people already thinking? I think it's a conversation in the community. Is Salah sellable? And maybe they can focus to other players who might have some motivation to play for the next 3 weeks. Rogers also blank. Villa only 1 goal. Sa also blank, despite people talking about Palace could have something, but the players who performed for Palace last week was Eze with 10 points. I think who has Eze until now, I think he's of the dividend. Sa nothing again, despite FA Cup goals and assists. Bowen, I decided to captain Bowen. Got 1 goal, Alhamdulillah, and got 9 pointer, only 2 bonus point. But if I do not have Bowen, I might get in Mbomo like people did last week and only got an assist. I think we touch on that for your team because you have Mbomo. Mamush blank. Thank God I did not captain Mamush because that's the plan. But I've decided to go different because there's a variety of captaincy last week. Salah, KDB, Isaac, people are going away. Mbomo, another one. But I said last minute penalty and 3 bonus point, 9 points. So I think much I can see. I think Isaac looks really good for the running, but despite that, people already thinking to move him on. So I think that's my team. What do you think?
Oh, I think it's great. I guess Bowen, who the biggest thing of when for those who didn't choose Bowen over say Wemo isn't that Bowen couldn't score, is the fact that can Bowen haul.
Yeah.
So it was the case, and again he didn't haul, but then other assets, like Mbeumo didn't do as well, Mbeumo only got an assist, for example.
Mm,
So yeah, but it did make significant, especially in terms of the captaincy, because there weren't many Bowen captains, and probably
mm.
not so much KDB captains either, because
Yep.
it was pretty hard to call, and I those of you who had KDB and Bowen and Isaac together, that really help push your scores up amongst those who only had maybe one of these three. So yeah, so well done to those. Isaac is the one that probably most people would still have, and unlike myself, KDB is always a question mark, and yeah, Bowen was always for this one was always he can do well, but how well can you do? So well done, and I'm especially happy for you that you hedge your bets with the Arsenal defense. Never trust this Arsenal double defense. It's just a
Yep.
it's just a
Yep.
crapshoot, really.
Yep.
But yeah, that's this. I didn't know the average was 40 plus, so that's a nice jump, 100 plus K rank jump, and yeah,
Mm.
hopefully you do hit into the 500K soon.
All right. Let's go to your team. You scored slightly lower, 32 points. You did mention about disappointing result, drop rank 57 to 87, but still, hopefully, you offline you mentioned Taya dah pancit, but I hope you can pump the Taya and continue for the next 3 weeks. So just talk to your team.
Okay, firstly, I don't know what you mean when you say slightly lower. I'm almost half your points.
Yes, yes,
But maybe you
yes,
meant slightly lower than the average. So yes,
yes,
the
yes,
average is
yes.
40 something. I'm on 32.
Yep,
So
yep.
this is when I'm not used to reading out my entire squad, but because this is fun. So I got Raya, Munoz, Guardiol, and Livramento. So all of blanked except for Guardiol. Then Mbuemo got an assist, Salah captaincy. So one of those I did try to go for the captaincy, which is a bit of a rogue pick apparently, and it didn't work. But of course, those who went for Mamush didn't work either. Murphy, who got hauled off in the 58th minute. So this is so the risk that a lot of people were worried about has finally happened. because with Barnes and Gordon fighting, and whenever Newcastle aren't doing well, that's when these players become a huge risk. So that's something that I need to consider. Rogers and Watkins both blanking. Tillmans decides to be the hero this time, so it's got hurt as well. Cunha blanked in the 1-0 1-0 win for Manchester City.
Mm-hmm.
So credit to that. Uh, it's Hang on now. I just want to check something. Uh, yeah. So yeah. No, I was just checking who assisted Tillman's goal. It was McGinn.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, then Mamush blanked. But I had this problem of trying to figure out between Henderson and Pope. But in the end, it didn't really matter anyway. So Henderson scored only 1 point more, so no biggie. So I benched both Saka and Timber, and Saka actually started.
Yeah.
But you can tell. I mean, I don't know. I didn't manage to catch that match, but
Can I just say, are you surprised? Because I am surprised because Arsenal played a strong lineup prior to that PSG match. So I'm not sure because they did lost 1-2 to Bournemouth. I think there's could
I
be
don't know.
like
I wonder if this is an error by our Premier
I
League teams
that's what
this
I feel.
season.
I think
Yeah,
that's
because you got Liverpool also did the same. Also, considerably also against PSG, they didn't feel
yeah.
a really weak lineup. And just to put insult to injury, if for those of you who follow the French league, PSG rotated pretty much the entire squad in the league game.
Wow.
They lost. They didn't care because
Because they
so
already win the league, right?
yeah, yeah. So they didn't care. So maybe our the Premier League team should have looked at it a bit more. Maybe we respect the league too much to want to throw away
Okay.
matches. But
What's the difference is Arsenal the situation is different because last week they already know they are not going to win the league. Liverpool situation at that juncture, they're still in the running and
true,
soccer they don't want to lose the rhythm. So I can understand that at that situation, despite they're playing against Southampton, maybe Slot should slightly do some rotation in that game, but he wants to continue that. It's two different situations. The Arsenal one is the pelik one. That's what I feel.
yeah. So a lot of Arsenal fans are feel frustrated. They feel that you're not winning the league, and your CL spot is okay. Like it's not. I think by now it should be 100% confirmed. With Southampton
Almost
doing
confirmed.
still to
Almost
go,
confirmed.
so it's almost there, and they're still second anyway. So it's gonna take some collapse of mammoth proportions. But yeah, so it's a big thing, and the fact that Saka started, I think we totally got blindsided by that one. But in the end, it came to nothing anyway. So so it's whatever they wanted to do. First, they lost that match
But
to
yeah,
Bournemouth. Bournemouth
yeah.
winning at Emirates for the first time, I think, or first time in a long time.
I know the fact is they did the double for Arsenal this week because they won against at
This
home
at
and
home,
then away.
yes, yeah. So it's clear, and so this is an issue, and this is why it looks might be even important to look at these teams who are playing in the in still in Europe, which is the Europa League and Conference. Now we had the Liverpool versus Chelsea game, so Chelsea won that one. So they're still putting up fight because they still want to make sure they also qualify for Europe in the other way.
Yep,
But
yep.
but at the same time, if but they had the timing to go against a Liverpool who just won the league. So they their focus probably not 100%. They're not quite in competitive mode. Yeah. So, but now we got Spurs, United, and um Chelsea for this one. It's crucial. The second leg now is crucial. To be fair, they all have good leads. I think Chelsea has one of the best leads.
Yeah.
So they're fine. But more important, but regardless, um, you have to wonder what type of squads they're going to put up, and even whichever squads that they put up, how much effort are they going to put in? Because they know that there's a cup to be won there. Um, and you know injuries is one thing. But you also they probably the chance. How do I say it? The avoiding of trying to avoid getting injured
Mm, mm,
will become a factor. So you might not see players tackle as much,
mm,
for
mm.
example. Yeah, I
And
mean,
protect themselves.
yeah, protect themselves because they want to be there because it's crucial. But at the same time, for Man United and Spurs, especially for Man United and Spurs, it doesn't matter. The league doesn't matter anymore. There's nothing there for them.
Yeah,
They're in
yeah,
like 14, 15 positions, so they're
yeah,
not gonna
yeah.
get anything. But it's a slightly different equation for Chelsea. So
Mm,
Chelsea are in the Europe spots at the moment, and
mm,
but at the same time they're in the Conference League. So
mm.
the best way to hedge your bet is to make sure they do well. So
Yeah.
I think they were lucky that they came up against the Liverpool and who were still
Yep.
drunk a bit.
Yep. Yeah. So I think because Chelsea, people do not give hope because their fixture are bad. The last four, the Liverpool, Newcastle, United, and then Forest, who are still also running. Newcastle and Forest in the mix for that Champions League spot because it's interesting. And I think we need that win against Liverpool. So thank God we got that win. Thank you for Liverpool doing that rotation. But now,
Welcome.
most importantly, is this week because there's some interesting fixture this week. Chelsea,
Yeah.
Newcastle. It will be a big one. If
Yep.
anyone win that game, there will be some advantage for sure.
Totally agree. Yeah.
Okay. Min, we'll talk more about our team, especially on what we're going to do this week. But just a quick one in terms of the team of the week, Gameweek 35. Maybe there is some new info they want to take in that we might need to consider when we do our transfer plan for at least for the next three. Okay. And we can see that. I think whoever have Martinez and Raya this week and decided to play Martinez, well done. You got a clean sheet and bonus point, and that's why Martinez on 9 points. In defense, Morello, I think he scored a goal for Forest. 10 pointer there. Cody, I don't think people will go there, but clean sheet for Leicester. And some bonus point for Cody. Houston for Bournemouth. A goal. Okay. Against Arsenal. Okay. Equalizer. No Bomo here, but Shade could be one of the pun that you can think if you want any Brentford asset. He scored 2 goals and got that 14 points. Garnacho, Manchester United, rotation race, but the Brentford 4-3 United. I mean, when you see that 4-3 result against United and you have Bomo, you will think, come on, man, 1 goal, 1 assist from Bomo, right? But that assist also is a contention one because macam indirect and
Okay.
people already start questioning that assist. Like my
Not gonna
Mamush
complain.
punya assist. So I think
Yeah.
if you got the assist, you take it. So that's why Momo at least he did not blank. If he blank, then people who captain last week will definitely be furious because Brentford scored that 4 goals. Tillman is someone really under radar. If you're thinking on want to jump in on Aston Villa as a you see the likes of Rogers not doing much or you want to do different, Tillman is something that people can think of. He is scored a goal and got that 3 bonus point, 11 pointers. Same for KDB. I know there's a lot of conversation about KDB this week, whether he can be an option to come in, but you want to think whether rotation could creeping in into City because they are having FA Cup final in 37. McNeil at the Everton guy, frustrating for Everton because they are accredited to have clean sheet last week, but Ipswich turned up from 2-0 down and scored 2 goals. But many in the mix, so he got that 10 points. Well done. And if you have Vardy, I seen some people getting in Vardy this week in 35. They got a goal and you can see their 9 pointer. And I set 9 points also. The forwards line up, I can say pretty much not so much. People are scoring Hall, and you can see the most is 9 pointer. Team of the week, mean any new thing or take away that we can say for this week?
Well, they there's a lot of discussion as to Shad, whether he's someone we should look at seriously. Although to be fair, it's really really hard, for that midfield slot because Mbuemo just feels he does so much, and also has penalties as well. So you want to put a slot there. And at the same time, we also have Wissa. So, but but it's good with Brentford. You have all these performing assets, so it's great. Just have to find out which one performs in which week. But if you don't have Umbuemo, and need some, I don't know, I can't remember how much Shade is, but it's definitely cheaper than Umbuemo.
5.1.
Yeah, there you go. So cheap as chips. So if you can't afford Umbuemo and want to go for, but still want a Brentford assess, then you would be averse than picking up Shade. Um, the other thing I want to mention is Garnacho but given that they're looking to fight into Europe, I don't think it's worth investing in him at this point. It's just too risky. But I would like to point out one of my cult favorites, Dwight McNeil. So finally gets a start after I think 4 months of injury, out from injury, and
Yeah.
and marks his first start because he's had like 2 or 3 sub appearances since he returned from injury. So he starts and he scores. So definitely well done, and I'm definitely keen on looking at him again, seeing whether he's worth it. The Everton fixtures are not bad actually. They actually
Okay.
doable. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, that's it for in terms of things players on the spotlight.
All right. I just want to mention in terms of captaincy, last week I do not have the stat, but I just gonna read out. The most captain last week was Salah,
Oh,
3.7 million. Okay, then second is Haaland at 1.6 million. Can I say these two, like maybe there are a lot of ghost team? People just captain Salah or Haaland, so they leave their team.
maybe.
So this the top two captaincy, and you can see there Salah 2 points, Haaland blank because he did not play at all. I said number 3, 1.6 million, captain him, got that 9 points. In fourth, Mamush, 761k, managers captain him, blank. And then Palmer at number 5, 452k, and got that 10 pointer if I'm right. And there is no Mbomo, no Bowen. What else people mentioned in the top 5? So there's potential if you say you want to go say again Mbomo this week. I can
Yeah.
sense that Salah, the Highland, the Isaac is have more people who captain instead of that. So I think that could be still some advantage that you can take from this week. That's why I am surprised that Mbomo is not in this top 5. But when you see in the top 100 managers, Mbomo is number 1 captain in the top 100, which
Yep.
around 47 plus managers. So you can see there the range, the top managers, the active one, the one that who really focus on their team, they really look at the best captaincy, and I can sense the top players who captain Bomo this week, right?
Yeah, so I guess it's a damning stat on for Manchester United defense, but when you look at the scoreline, yeah, you just it's just bad luck for you that Buemo was hardly part of that crazy 4 goal run. So in a way, the top 100 got it right, but not the best. In the end, they didn't. It wasn't Buemo was involved
Mm-mm.
much. So I mean that thing uh, you just have to absorb it and move on. Unfortunately, for me, like because I captain Salah because thinking that Chelsea, so that was misguided lah, and maybe a bit of delusion on my part. I have to put my hands up, but because I know Mass still on Salah, but as you say, there may be a lot of dead teams already by this point. Um, but it was a bit of romanticism involved there, that they just won the
Right.
league, so he's going to celebrate to continue scoring. On hindsight, I should have done a bit more stats work. Uh, looking back, it's like you need to still look at stats seriously, and then maybe a pinch of your romanticism, and be realistic about these things. So yeah,
We,
it's
we shall see whether you're going to captain Salah again this week. Probably, but we shall see. But what's next? The most important thing, Let's take a look at the fixture ticker for the next three. If you're thinking,
So
what
short.
the plan that you're gonna do, or you still think, is there any advantage that you can take, or the thing that you should target? The fixture ticker from Fantasy Football Scout members area, especially number one is Ipswich. I don't think people will go there, but Ipswich on top in terms of fixture ticker. They play Brentford, then they play Leicester away, and then West Ham. So if let's say you have some romance for Delap, Liam Delap, maybe you could take him. He's cheap, and hope for the best for Ipswich. But when team are relegated, they could play some feeder players and try out some new things. But I think our focus should be number two. Forest at top ticker. They play Leicester. Nice entry point this week. We did discuss offline. Forest have excellent entry point. And then they play West Ham, which is still decent despite away. And they play could be a potential really critical match for both teams because they are fighting for Europe's championship spot. Forest and Chelsea. Next for City, stay excellent if we have triple double City players. Southampton, really nice entry point if thinking KDB this week. Then play Bournemouth and then away to Fulham. And they are on the expected to lock that Champions League spot, especially maybe they need 1 or 2 wins to secure that spot. The tricky part is between that Southampton Bournemouth game, they have FA Cup final, and you do not have any control who's going to play in that Bournemouth match. So I think that's the caveat in terms of City. Next is Brentford. Is for more for Brentford this week. Continuing is which entry point still excellent. Last week again, Manchester United at home, you can see already their potential scored 4 goals. Is which they could also haul in that game. Fulham at home and then end the match with Wolves. And the most interesting part, Brentford has the appetite or motivation because they could finish in European spot places. So they still have some motivation to that. Next is Everton. Thinking about that, Winil, Azmin mentioned, Fulham. They have Southampton in 37. You're thinking of that. And then they Newcastle. And Bournemouth. People thinking about the likes of Evanescence and so on. Villa at home, but City 37. But they have excellent closing match at 38. Leicester at home. People already eyeing that. Then West Ham, Manchester United, Forest, they have also excellent. They gave it 38 away to Ipswich. The rest bawah tu is Southampton, Liverpool, Crystal Palace, Brighton, and then Chelsea is going to be a tough one. But if you think this team could excel, then you could pick these players from this team. But what do you think, man, in terms of fixture ticker? Which team target?
One of the biggest problems is that a lot of us still have Crystal Palace assets, and they're like bottom down
Yeah.
there in terms of fixture ticker.
Same for Newcastle, right?
Yeah, so they have Spurs to play next, which is considered a great matchup because they got Spurs are being distracted by Europe. But if you're looking at a bit long term, they will play against Wolves in game week 37 after the FA Cup final. So that's something you have to think of if you're going to, if you still have those Crystal Palace players, whether you just want to keep him for this week and then, sell him off because the last game against Liverpool at home at Anfield, so it's looking dicey. So then you have Chelsea, so also towards the bottom, and is Palmer's finally breaking his duck gonna spur off a goal scoring streak till the end of the season? It is possible, but of course you have to consider you are playing against Newcastle, who are um, still fighting. They are at fourth position now, so they're going to play well. Chelsea are at fifth. They're equal on points actually. They only tied by goal difference. So that's something else. And then they will play Manchester United. And Manchester United. When is the hang on Europa League final? I'm not sure. I have to check.
Europa League final will be on midweek. Midweek 37, yeah.
Yeah, so so that's those are the things you have to keep into factor. The funny thing is, I'm not sure if you've read it. I read it on the Premier League website. Is that as many as 10 teams could end up playing in Europe for England, which is crazy, because you got Crystal Palace, for example, winning the FA Cup. So it does
Say.
matter what position, he'll definitely get the spot. Then you have Chelsea, if they lose, but then they win that Conference League, they still get a spot in Europe. Yeah,
Fact.
and of course Spurs or Manchester
Spurs and
United, whoever
United.
wins, will get a Champions League spot. So that's
Mm.
six Champions League spots there, which is
Ooh.
crazy when you think about it.
Yep.
So but anyway, coming back to the fixtures, so Ipswich, yeah, yeah, the problem is that experimentation, what they're gonna do. But it is very enticing, especially if you want to run that risk for D-Lab and have a go. D-Lab has blanked, but then when he does score in doubles, in minimal or doubles, as in one after the other. Forest, they're at the top, but again, they have nothing to play for anymore. So it's just a case of finish. Sorry, they still fighting for Europe to ensure they finish in that top five, and this ambition was blunted a bit after they drew against Palace last week. But yeah, so it's just a case, are we gonna get Chris Wood back to his form at the start of the season, the first half of the season? City, again, as you mentioned, City is the problem where, sure they have Southampton, but after that is they are in the FA Cup final. So before they play Bournemouth. So if you're gonna bring him in now, there is that risk that you have to consider and take into account. Brentford, everything to fight for in the league. So if you have Brentford players, keep them. If you want to double up or triple up, I strongly recommend it. Even though that the last game for me, it's not as great a matchup as it once was. Wolves' defense are so much better now. But Everton. So coming back to Everton, they're fifth in the ticker, and Everton don't score a lot. That's the
Yeah.
problem. Yeah, but you might want to look at the defense, or
Defense.
because the now striker you got Beto, you've also got Broja also back.
The DCL
I
is
don't
back.
DCL back as well. So they have nothing to play for. So there's a possible issue of experimentation there. So yeah, it, you need to balance out, because it seems like the league has been won, the three promoted spots are the three relegation spots have been confirmed, but to make up for it, you've got so many people trying to get into Europe, so to help
Mm.
the league remain interesting at this
Mm.
point.
Mm.
So
Mm. Mm.
so
Mm.
it
Mm.
be you need to find a balance and try to figure out which teams are going to rotate and just play
Yeah.
around and experiment, and which ones are really going to fight for it.
Yeah. If I may say here, you can see Forest, you can see City, you can see Brentford. I think people thinking about the asset, you could go there. You have Bournemouth also potential. West Ham, the likes of Bowen coming into it. Wolves, Cunha also in conversation. Villa, Watkins could be in that conversation too. And people are looking at forwards. The template right now is Mr. Mamouche, Isaac, and Mateta. Most of team will have that template. Maybe not so much in terms of other players, but people are looking at potentially moving this player starting this week. Maybe the likes of Visa, Evanison. But I just want to talk about that. I have some stats from Fantasy Football Scout members here thinking about potential forwards for the running. Um, for the last 6 game week forwards. The first one is XGI, and you can see there 4.02 Eval Nissen is on top, because for the past 6 game week he got goal and assist 5, 4 goals and 1 assist. A fixture against Arsenal last week, if you bench him, he scored that goal. I think he got some 1 or 2 bonus points. So Evanescence is still interesting, despite their fixture might be tough on paper. You can see, because they have Villa, okay, they have City, but the last game is definitely Leicester. Visa, no surprise, people love him. People already talk about him, 3.39 SGI, but he also has the same goal and assist with Evanescence, 5. 4 goals and 1 assist for the past 6 game weeks. The next one is Cunha, 1.78, 2 goals, 2 assists. We know Cunha, when he did something, he will be in the mix of bonus point. 3 bonus point, macam you can give to Cunha if, let's say, he get an assist anyway. Then Watkins, 1.04, because I just take these potential forwards, Bournemouth, Brentford, Wolves, Villa, and Forest. If you're thinking which one the best, this is for the past last game weeks. Watkins number 4, 3 goals, 1 assist, and 2 goals, 1.04. And Chris Wood down there because Forest, their form has been really bad. Chris Wood has not been performing. He's only got 1 return in the past 6. So Wood at the bottom. In terms of attempt, table down there, Evanescence and Visa has the most attempts. They share inside the box. Visa has more. Okay, penalty touches, maybe Visa have more, but in terms of pricing, you can see Evanescence below 6 million, 5.8 some more. So Evanescence, we have Visa and then Cunha there, 11 attempts, 5 inside the box. But Evanescence and Visa also big chances they are also shared the same high in terms of 7. So then Watkins and then Chris Wood. The difference is Forest have excellent match this week at home against Leicester. They still want to perform. They still have some outside chance to get the Champions League spot. They will go out. And you can still remember Forest against Brighton, they have potentially can win 7-0. And it could be this game also. So what do you think, Ming? Forwards for the past 6 game week, which you think that people should choose?
It's a sad situation where Chris Wood, who has been very poor, is in the top in the top 5 position there. Um, it's very tough to decide which teams are gonna go push for it. Evan Nilsson is good, but the
Is it
forward
is,
line,
is it is it is it the fixture ticker will play a role when you're deciding which player to pick?
it is, but you still have to consider the form. And at the moment, Evan Nilsson's form is better. Is one of the best in theory, compared to someone like Marmoush, who doesn't even appear here, which is pretty sad because Marmoush is in many squads, has been in many squads in the past few weeks, but he's not the one who's performing. We saw definitely, and as you say, the fixtures are there, and Brentford are poised to finish the season with a blast. Um, Cunha, of course, sure he blanked against City, but the stage is set for him to end his season with Wolves in style. So that's the other thing that we need to figure out. I think we've established that Vitor Pereira has no issues with Cunha continuing to play, and Cunha is continuing to show his talent to anyone. It doesn't matter because Cunha has a buyout clause, so it's not Pereira's anything Pereira playing him, and if he does well, it's not going to drive his price up anyway because the buyout clause is enough. But Pereira knows that Cunha is motivated to show them, to show anyone that he's continuing to be a value, and it doesn't hurt. It will not. It will only hurt him if he doesn't play. So, and Wolves definitely stand a much better chance of winning stuff when he does play. Um, I'm very torn with Watkins. I had him for some good stuff, but then when I expected him to score, he's disappointed. I'm not sure what's going on with Villa now after they got knocked out of the FA Cup and and Europe. It's just not been great. And instead, players like Tielemans have stepped up. So the focus on Rodgers and Watkins is not so there. I just thought that when um, who's that guy got injured? Rashford got
Rashford,
injured, and
Rashford.
Watkins will push on, but in a way, it has a bit, but not as much as I would have hoped for. So at the end of the day, even though fixtures do play a role, but you still need to consider those teams who have something to fight for. Um, But if you look at that, the only team here who has nothing to fight for is actually Wolves. Everyone else still has something to are fighting for
Fair,
Europe,
fair,
aren't they?
fair, 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 fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, I mean, if if someone who has Watkins, I think despite stats and so on, you just play him because he has interesting fixture against Spurs that we mentioned in 37. Who knows, right? What team that Spurs going to play that game, and you can easily got a haul in Watkins. We know potentially he's on penalty kick, if I'm right, and then because is not around, so then he could be a factor. I think if I'm in position, I have Watkins, I will continue. But if let's say you have someone like the likes of Isaac, the like of Mamuch, maybe you are thinking whether these assets that you should get, especially this week, because the entry point, some of the feature, especially for Brentford against Ipswich and for Forest against Leicester, but not so interested. But I take a quick look in terms of ownership, if I may say, maybe that could also play a factor in terms of our decision, because I believe the likes of uh, Chris Wood and so on still as high ownership. Let me take a quick peek. Yeah, I said still number one with 61% manager has owned him. Then Mamush around 30%. Chris Wood around 30% also, 29.1%. So there's still a lot of manager has his own Wood currently. So if you want to go differential, I don't think you should go Wood, but despite he has excellent fixture this week. Watkins and Visa tied at 18%. So they are also not low.
Watkins and
Visa,
Wisa. Okay.
they are 18%. And they are on demand right now, especially on Visa. But Evanison, 3.7%.
Oh, this is gonna be hard. Ah. Uh, oh well.
Real differential.
That's
Yeah.
yeah. I mean the Evan side doesn't look so great because his game week 37 match is against City, but bearing in mind
Yeah.
that City will be coming off a FA Cup final.
Mm.
Yeah, if if they win that one, then you got to wonder, because it doesn't matter. But I know they still need to finish well in the table,
League.
but I don't think they have any problems. They are currently at third. Who would have thought City now at third after half the season spending
Mm.
languishing in the bottom half? But they in terms of the defense, they have improved. And they've also got KDB wanting to sign off with a blast. So again, but again, this is romantic, romantic stories and stuff. Um, but yeah, that Bournemouth definitely. And let me see, who do they play in their last game? I'm not sure.
Leicester at
Leicester.
home.
Oh, so there you go. Yeah. Bournemouth are currently on 9-8, so they definitely still have a chance of getting into Europe too. Bournemouth traditionally are great playing at home, so it's going to be tough figuring this out.
Okay. Let's rank this player based on your preference, because for me, top three, if you want to think for this week, I think we saw. I think people look at that, and saw involvement is also high. I'm thinking about fixture, and then maybe after that Evanison, and then Cunha. I still like Cunha because he bonus point monster. He also some excellent fixture, Palace, Brighton, and against Brentford. Yeah. So and I expect Cunha to be playing full minutes, and he's also on penalty kick. And Cunha still can produce points, even though the last three games, maybe Wolves don't have anything to play that you mentioned, but I do feel he's an asset you can own. I think he's a great option. How about your preference, Win?
You want me to rank that
Yes.
top five?
Yeah.
Okay. One, Cunha. Two, Evan Nilsson. Three, Chris Root. Four, Wissa. Five, Watkins. Yeah. So in a way, this kind of defeats the narrative of um, get players whose teams have
Mm.
something to play for, because Cunha is top. It's just that I feel that quality is so there, and he does everything. You
Yep,
know,
I
he
agree
takes
that.
free kicks,
I
he
have
kicks, yeah, he takes
I I
penalties.
I I I have to agree. I have to.
Yeah, and I like, and I'm putting Evan Nilsson high up because uh, two matches they're playing at home, and the one match they're playing away, they against City, who would have just come off the FA Cup final. So I feel that they're in a better position. Then after that is only with Wood, Wissa, and Watkins, the three Ws.
Okay, just take a look at market odds for this week. So at least maybe we can see what people are thinking the projected goals and clean sheet odds from
Mm.
Rob the FPL. I think the highest potential high scoring game is City 2.90 against Southampton. Despite away match, they also have a good clean sheet odds 44%. You can see there after that 2.9 is Forest should score high also against Leicester 2.25, and potentially they could keep the highest clean sheet at 46%. Then Brentford also away to Ipswich, number 3, 2.20 and 32% clean sheet odds. And what the rest is below 2, I can see there. The nearest is Newcastle, who can score 1.8 against Chelsea, but it's going to be a tight match. And yep, 46% clean sheet for Forest, 44% against City, and then 36% Fulham keeping a clean sheet against Everton, who um, terrible at scoring. What do you think, Ming, in terms of prediction for this week?
Mm. I know there was this one week, was it last week or the week before, where I was terribly, I think it was Game Week 34, was terribly against the odds. But here, not this time around, not much to disagree really. I guess the one that I challenge a bit is that Manchester United West Ham one. So, but that at the end of the day, this may change after tomorrow's match. After tonight's matches, so it may be different. And even the Spurs Crystal Palace odds could really drastically change depending on how well Spurs do tonight and whether they qualify for the next round. But as it stands, yeah, I'm not too fussed. Although uh, most of it's okay. I would like to have seen Wolves goals uh, stats to be much higher.
Okay.
Because Brighton, yeah, sure, Brighton did decently last week, but again, playing away is seems to be really horrible for them of late for Brighton, and Wolves at home is a beast, especially with Cunha. So I just feel that one Wolves should have a better goals projection.
Yep. I can see two good fixture this week: Newcastle versus Chelsea. Uh, my team is playing there, and also Liverpool and Arsenal, number one spot against second spot. I just want to ask you, mate, in terms of Liverpool lineup, what do you think Slot will do this week? He's going to play the same lineup against Chelsea, or he's going to feel a strong team?
Uh, he's gonna change it up again, but unlike last week, I think this game will see him play a bit of a more stronger squad. Theoretically, they have rotated in the last game, so I can see them coming back to the stronger squad, with the likes of Soboslai and Robertson coming back to the fore. I guess the only issue is
Luis Diaz
Darwin.
could start, right? Luis
Yeah.
Diaz. Hmm?
So Gakpo and Jota started in the last game, but I definitely can see Diaz. I actually projected Diaz to be benched last week, so Diaz should be in the starting lineup, and that midfield could be the strongest back. Granvenberg, McAllister, and
Jones.
Zoboslai.
So was like,
Yeah. So because yeah, they rotated. As we expected last weekend, they rotated. But yeah, so I think they can go back to a full squad this week, especially against their arch rivals for the title, and they want to give it to Arsenal. So Arsenal, of course, now for them they need to recover quickly and face it up, and get them over the line. But also, it's a pride thing because Arsenal will, like Chelsea last week, they will have to give this guard of honor to Liverpool. So, but I'm sure they'll want to put up a fight. So
Yep. Yep.
I
After
think.
that,
Sorry, go on.
after Arsenal losing to PSG, they want to do well this game, despite how it's going to turn out. Liverpool versus Arsenal. I think this is going to be an interesting game. Um, people talk about selling Salah. I mean, what do you think? Is it something reasonable, or do you think uh, the last 3 game weeks, Salah is someone who could still produce haul? Because I think the past, I know 5 6 game, he doesn't have any double digit haul so far.
Yeah. I'm trying to decide whether I'm speaking from bias here, but
Hmm.
his motivation continues to be there. I think
Okay,
he
fair.
did score 2 weeks ago, but to win the league, remember, he scored in that game against Spurs. So
Hmm.
I think he will still want to play, and there's no reason to rest him. I think that the motivation is there just to ensure that the rest of the team are also motivated as
Hmm.
well. Yeah. So
Betul, betul.
I mean, Salah doesn't drink, so he doesn't have that alcohol issue. You got these people drinking every 2 days and happy. Yeah, but
I think hmm,
but they do need to respect the league a bit as well. Even in the place, I mean, there's still money up for grabs for even the second, third, fourth. There's still a different prize money there as well, and of course, so pride. I know
yep,
fans don't care if they finish second or third. In fact,
yep,
in fact, a lot of people, Arsenal fans, don't want them to finish second simply because they become the bridesmaid for far one too many times. Yeah, but at the end,
you want to
we
give a
hope
fight.
that these teams will be professional about it.
Yep,
Rotate,
yep,
rotate is fine. You might see the likes of Nwaneri in there, but whatever team they put out, they should be playing to win regardless.
yep. It should be a competitive one. Let's talk about captaincy this week. We did mention earlier in the stream who's going to be the top captaincy for this week. In terms of game week 36 points prediction from Fantasy Football Hub members area, Salah is number one. We predicted 7.0 um, points for this week. I don't know whether Fantasy Football Hub also biased for Mo Salah, but this is what they predicted, despite at home against Arsenal. Then I said against Chelsea, wow, okay, 6.2. I said good, actually also can go, and we know if he's good, he will also in the mix for bonus point. I mean, you mentioned about Cunha. I mean, number third is Cunha, 5.8 at home against Brighton. And then Visa, away to Ipswich, and Mr. Mamush at fifth. But there is no the likes of KDB or Bomo, who people are looking at also captaining this week. To you, I mean, who is the best captaincy for this week?
Next. It's
Are you
okay because obviously you got Mamush who faces
Southampton?
Southampton. Yeah, so it's very and even though he's not at the top, but then the reason that he's not at the top is also because he's been quite poor recently. He hasn't really done much to justify it that even the likes of Wisa are above him. But I'm gonna go for the home player for this one. I think in the last few matches the
Better.
home player is going to have a bit more of an impact. So I'm definitely not picking Mamush. I'm definitely ruling out Mamush, even though Haaland's not likely to be back. I'm definitely not picking out Wissa. Um, so that leaves the three. So why don't you guess who I'm leaning towards?
Are you going to captain Salah again this week, man, at home against Arsenal?
No, I'm going to pack Captain Cunha.
Salah, excellent. I'm wearing Wolves color, so maybe I think he could deliver and get that
And
15 points, and you win it, right?
I'm wearing Salah's colors, but
Yeah.
yeah. So that, of course, in terms of scheduling wise, because there's no early match, so on Saturday night Wolves will play in the first round of matches. So at the same time, City play as well. So a bunch of captainers are there. But one the guy who's not here in terms of points prediction is Mbuemo.
Yep.
So yeah, so definitely we'll have the first round of matches. We'll have Mbuemo captain, maybe Mamush captain, KDB captain, and probably Cunha captain. So a host of captains will be playing there. You would think that the Liverpool captaincy might Salah captaincy might not be great because Salah has been poor, and the fact that it's a top of the table clash.
Yeah. But I'm just. I think this week, like last week, it will be a variable captaincy. You
Yes.
could go anywhere, and they could excel because I think three teams playing promoted side: Leicester, Forest playing Leicester, then Ipswich against Brentford, and then City against Southampton. If you want to target, I don't think there's any wrong if you're doing that and try your luck again this week, right?
Yeah.
All right, we already hit the 1 hour mark. Let's go to our team. I go first, main, and
Okay.
I would like to discuss because I have some transfer decision and option for this week. So I put here so we can discuss. First of all, let's look at my team. Money in the bank, 0.4 million, 2 free transfer, and currently Captain Mamush, but it could easily change. So my team, Raya in goal, despite playing away to Liverpool. Guardiol, Munoz, and Konza, because I don't have option. Burn and Kivio playing Chelsea and Liverpool. And I don't think I'm going to play Burn against Chelsea. So maybe Konsa could have a chance. Mo Salah, KDB, Bowen, and Sa. And then I set Mamush and Mateta on my bench. Arela, Rogers, Burn, and Kivio. I did mention that. I don't have Brentford players. And last week, I'm not so keen. This week, I am more for more than last week. So those are the potential transfer, and you can see a lot of Brentford decision that I want to make. First of all, first and second option, no hit I will take. I will bring in Visa and Elanga and take out the Crystal Palace asset. Despite I think the community feels that you should keep your Palace asset against away to Spurs. I'm not sure whether I want to hang on more that Mateta and some Mateta now not playing full 90 minutes. And Eze on penalty kicks. So I think Mateta could easily go this week. I'm not sure about Sa. But I'm thinking about what's the best ceiling I want this week. So Visa maybe and Elanga. Second, I could bring Visa and Momo, but at the expense of Salah. People thinking about potential Salah might be on the drop. And do I want to risk it? I'm in this position. I'm feeling it that whatever I'm doing right now, maybe I could run away from this feature. So Salah could be one of my options to take out and getting Momo and will play him for the next 3 game weeks. The third one and the fourth one, I will take a hit. I want Visa and Bomo, and then I go cheap in keeper. This is Leicester keeper, scholarship at 4.0. But I really need money. I don't have money. I take out Mateta, I take out Sa, and I'll take out Raya, who cost me 5.5 billion. Or I go for Visa, Mbomo, and Nuri. I like you mentioned, Wolves. I like Wolves fixture, but if I don't have Cunha, Nuri still good. Take -4, but at the expense of Salah. Take out Mateta, Salah, Eben. This is my thinking right now, but I'm not sure what I will do. But I would like to ask your opinion anyway.
So firstly, the third and fourth will lead to hits lah.
Yes.
So for you will play Ariola, right?
I'll play Raya if I have Raya. I think if
No,
let's
no.
say
For
Liverpool,
if you by selling out like number 3 where you sell Raya.
yes. I'll play
Yeah,
Arela.
Ariola lah, of course. So yeah, so all four. So you pretty much determined to get in Wisa lah. So Wisa is your
I think so.
priority.
I think
Even
so.
over Mbuemo. So
Because I think what's challenged me is because I have don't have that spot. What people have like this, the combination they have Salah, they have Saka or KDB, and then they have one Bomo instead of Bowen. Bowen also cost in that range, 7.5, 7.6. Bomo at 8.2 right now, and then Sar or Rogers. The Bowen spot should have been Mbomo, but Bowen has been excellent to me, to my team. If I want to complement Bowen, I think Mbomo is another expensive asset that I need to have.
yeah, I guess the thing is Sar has been such a disappointment. Um, it's not really much involvement there. Do you ever consider Mateta for Cunha?
I I I'm thinking also that potential.
I
Uh, mm,
I have to say I like the Elanga pick. I think it's a bit of a under the radar pick in that sense. It's not a popular pick. So but of course because they play Leicester as well in the first they play
mm.
Leicester, so their matches are good, quite decent as well.
but
Um,
but not only Mbomo. That's what worries me. What do you think?
yeah, I mean when I picked Mbuemo, it was a bit of a long distance, so this was one of the games that I felt like I'm gonna be miserable if I don't have him. So now you're in this position.
Yeah, I'm in this
Uh,
position. Yeah.
yeah, I'm just trying to decide whether selling Salah for Mbuemo is the
Is it
key is the
crazy?
play here.
Is it crazy? As I don't know.
The reality is Salah has not performed. So in terms of stats wise, in terms of goals scored, Salah's not there. So, but will this change? Last week they had the celebration, fine enough, but this week they want to finish well, and it's at Anfield, and sure, Arsenal's defense is nowhere as the same as it was under Gabriel. So Gabriel's not around. We have to keep remember that. So against quality teams, the absence of Gabriel will hurt. So I don't think you should sell Salah. And if if you were to ask to go for these three options, I would go for option number three, because the problem with option number four is that you will keep Sar as well. So Sar,
Mm,
who's hasn't, has not been performing either. So I go for option number three because
okay.
Palace has the second worst in terms of fixtures, but of course they play Spurs.
Yeah,
Um,
people are talking about why you want to take out Palace asset against Spurs this week. But
yeah,
I'm
so
not feeling it.
I'm not feeling it either. I know we had this romantic thing about Crystal Palace finishing off like they did last season, but that hasn't really happened. And we saw, I mean, the last one was a draw against Forest, and
Mm,
and this time around, Palace are in the FA Cup, so the intensity for this match will, because the next after this is the FA Cup, so it's definitely going to be a lot less players want to play in the FA Cup final. It's not every day that Crystal Palace is
okay.
gonna need. I mean, it's a bit different for City, who are used to playing in these high end games, but Palace, it's a chance. So
Mm. I
I'm with
think
you,
mm,
selling
yeah, I
Mateta and
think
Sa.
I think if I don't bring him Bomo this week, I will not bring him any
Ever.
ever for this season anymore because I will already miss that boat.
That's true.
And I think number one still good if I want to go, but can I live without Bomo? I think that's a question. That is what I'm still dealing
Yeah,
with.
unfortunately, Mateta and Sa, you can't do a straight swap for Wissa plus Mbeumo. Otherwise, you'll be perfect, right?
Yeah, yeah. I will not take up Bowen from Bomo. I don't think that's a wise move because
No, they
West Ham
play
still around.
United, so no.
So
Yep.
so that's the decision I need to make. And if let's say I bring him Bomo in, most probably I will captain him. I think that's my feeling for now. Okay,
Oh, wow. Okay, cool.
right.
Let's go to
Let's go to
mine.
you. Let's go to your team. 1.2 million in the bank, one free transfer, right?
Yep. So, uh, first problem is Pope versus Henderson. So I guess I'll play Henderson after all that about talking about Crystal Palace. Not because just simply because Chelsea are still fighting for something in the league and Spurs are not. Newcastle are fighting as well. I just feel that Chelsea, now that Palmer has scored, they might do much better. Plus, they're playing at Stamford Bridge. So, no, they're playing at Newcastle, right?
Newcastle.
Sorry. Yeah, they play at Newcastle, so that argument doesn't hold. So Munas, Guardiola, Livramento. I can't see myself changing that back line. Um, I don't want to play Timber or Digne. I can't.
Yep. I
Unless I
agree.
get some team news that says that Digne is gonna start, then I might consider. But otherwise, no. Forget that. Mbeumo, so I don't have that your problem you have. So I got Salah and Saka to cover the last match, which could be a boom or a bust, who knows. Then I have Rogers. Of course, Villa still fighting for
Yep.
Europe spot.
Yep.
Cunha, Marmoush, and Watkins rounded up. So to be fair, it's not a bad squad.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't really need to make any changes if I don't want to. But
I agree.
I'm getting to this point where I'm reverting to the manager I was last season, trying to chase points. And maybe, but I have to, I'm trying to be calm because there is a bit of frustration.
Fair.
In the sense of the last 2 weeks, the free hit, uh, getting a red arrow on a free hit always sucks. And last week, of course, was one of the worst weeks of the season. So, but I need to temper myself. Is doing different gonna get me better points?
Yep.
Or I'm just going to do better. So I'm going to be a bit different, but most likely I will not uh make
Are
um
you are you going to roll a transfer?
yeah. I'm
Yes.
wondering
Yes.
whether I should
I
roll a
think so.
transfer.
If you're thinking of that,
Uh,
I can concur that could be a right move because I think your squad is good, especially the first 11, and your bench you won't play this Murphy, Timber, or Digne. You play Henderson over Pope, and Salah and Saka you keep because after that they have good fixture, especially for Arsenal will turn after this. Newcastle still good at home, and then away to Southampton. You keep him, and Salah, as you know, man, you just never know lawan Arsenal he could score. Then Brighton, if I'm right, and then home at home and field last game against Crystal Palace, who might have enjoyed already the FA Cup victory or don't have anything to play.
yeah, I mean, I'm just worried about my FOMO is on Forest, I guess. But to be fair, they haven't been
Yeah,
scoring that much.
yeah,
Yeah. The heck, if I that FOMO about Forest, maybe I should just go for cells. But the motivation isn't enough. So
yep,
so the the part where I become me and myself is by captaining Cunha. So that might be the one differential for me because I just checked in terms of the ownership for last week, and Cunha's ownership in the top 10k is only like 7%, and in the top 100k, which is where I am, it's only about 9%.
okay, all
So
right.
so it's a high risk, high reward, but I don't mind going against the crowd, as you know. So I think I might go Cunha.
That is the Azmin that I know, and it's a good one. It's not like a blind one. You just simply captain, say Shade
Ah,
or Rogers. It's Cunha.
yeah, I got good history with Cunha. I'm one of those loyalists.
Yep.
Just a little 5% of me praise he doesn't uh punch a player. So otherwise, that's just a risk I'm gonna have to take. Especially
One tak boleh nak cakap lah.
Lewis Dunk is gonna get into his head, maybe. So yeah, we'll see. But
Oh,
I'll take it.
yo.
Yeah. So at the moment, it really is on Cunha. So but the one thing that I don't know if I want to go further is triple captaining him. So it's something
Oh,
I've
yeah.
considering it, but I
Okay,
don't know.
let's talk about it. When do you think the potential that you're gonna triple captain and who? Because 36 is now, 37 you're thinking about someone, or 38 could be the one.
because it's so hard.
Let's take a look at the fixture ticker.
Yeah,
You're thinking about Mo Salah? You're thinking about Mo Salah?
not really.
If you're
Not
thinking of
feeling.
that, maybe 38 at home against Crystal Palace. If you're thinking about him. But if you're thinking about 36, why not Cunha, right?
I don't know, because you know why? Because there's Umbremo there staring at me playing against Ipswich. Ipswich are horrible at home. So I don't know. If it's funny that if I captain, I go for Cunha, but if I triple captain, I feel like I should go for Umbremo, the safe. Maybe because that's a safer play. So if I'm
Okay.
using a chip, going for the safer play. So that kind of
Uh.
sucks when the more I think about it, right?
Okay. Say you want to captain someone in 37. Who do you think in your squad right now that has potential that you're thinking of
Well,
captaining?
there's two relegated sides that play against each other that rules them out, and the other one playing relegated side is Everton. So those that already makes it less attractive.
Okay. I think this from your squad, 37 could be excellent pick for Watkins at home against Spurs who are having their mind with Europa League final. There could be a potential.
Uh, no, it's just Watkins. It just seems off for me. I'm not feeling it from him. Yeah,
Mm.
it's
But
not
I think that
not.
could be one option in 37 if you take a triple captain. But if you do not want to do anything in 36 and 37, I don't think you could go wrong captaining Mo Salah at the final game of the season at home against Crystal Palace, who definitely on the beach.
Yeah, nice home match to be
Yep.
fair, even if it is against
And
Palace.
if let's say we do our watch along, wow, we flip one wonder that will be interesting.
Wow, playing a chip on the very last game week, not bad, where everyone plays at the same time. Wow,
Yep,
that's
yep.
romanticism again.
That
You
will
know
be
who's
great.
there's still Cunha there against Brentford at home.
They play each other tau. Cunha lawan dengan Bomo tau.
That's true. But Wolves' defense are so much better than Brentford's now. So
So
yeah, if
I think what should do, keep your triple captaincy until 38. I think that will be good.
okay, let's see what happens. Let's see how I feel tomorrow on Saturday morning. Actually,
Right, let's take some question. From Racket MPS. Sorry, quick one. Win Visa or Cunha? You favor Cunha? I prefer Visa. I think you can't go wrong, right?
yeah. Um, both are good. Cunha, sure, he blanked last week, but that was against City, and he should
Yep,
return to
yep,
goal scoring form at home.
yep. Interesting. KDB or Elanga, but both are at different price bracket.
I'd go for Elanga at this point. Yeah, I just feel that I'm wondering whether they'll put in Cotton KDB a bit for the FA Cup final, because they want, he might, I can see him starting for that one. They want a trophy for him, give
Is it?
nice send off.
I'm feeling that he's not going to start that for us because he need to start against Bournemouth at the last game at home for City. That's what I feel.
For the last game, but what I mean is the FA Cup final in Gameweek 37. Yeah, I feel that
And
they might
mm,
they might only juggle, and then the for Gameweek 37 Premier League match might end up getting benched, right? Yeah. So Elanga lah.
all right, this might be a tighter call. Evanison or Visa?
I just have a thing for Evan Nilsson. 2 home matches, and the away match is against the City after the FA Cup. So I'm going for Evan Nilsson.
You know, interestingly, for my team or for my season so far, I never own Visa or Evanison yet
Seriously,
this season. Yeah,
I've owned both at
not
some point.
not even on free hit, even though I've been thinking of them. So
Wow.
it will be interesting. Uh, this pick for my own team, but I feel I'm gonna go Visa. But at the some point in 38, I will pick Evan Wilson. That's what I feel. Right. Murphy Osa, I don't think people like this option, but if you want to play Sa, maybe this week.
Uh, yeah, Buffy's not convincing me at the moment, so I'd say Sar. But it's not that far.
Would you sell Eze for Elenga? If I have Eze now, he's the most prominent Crystal Palace. He's on penalty. I think I keep him against Spurs. I think I'll do that.
Yeah, I don't think this week's the right week to sell Eze. So I think you can afford to still have Eze for this week and look at selling him next week.
Question for Forest Asset to boost rank. Oh, nak naik rank, okay. Williams and Milenkovic or Williams and Murillo? I think Murillo is suspected injury, right? For now, yellow flag. So maybe Milenkovic.
I'm not sure, but assuming he's fit, then I still go for Milankovic. He has one of the best expected goals. Something,
Yeah.
yeah. So I still go for Milankovic.
Interesting for people who still have Palmer. Palmer to KDB or keep Palmer? I think I keep Palmer for now because KDB has rotation risk.
I keep Palmer. Let's not forget he just scored, so he might go on a run. Now, he might feel that weight off his shoulders. So, haven't you considered buying in Palmer, Hafiz?
If I bring in Palmer, it's definitely for Salah, man. Because I don't have
Uh,
money. I don't have money.
because for
I
me, I
think
could sell Saka for Palmer if I wanted.
yes, I could sell KDB, but I won't sell KDB this week. Maybe next week. We just won't know that conversation next week, right? Okay, I think that's all for this week, man. It's already almost 1 and 20 minutes, and that's a wrap up for Gameweek 36 preview. So your last word.
My last words: check out T News, and this. I have to admit, this Palmer thing is. I'm starting to think about this Palmer a bit more now. But yep, the deadline's a bit late. There's no early game, and it's Saturday, 11. So especially those in Malaysia who have a bit more time to think. I might be at the airport during the deadline, so I don't know if I have time. I might have to set up the my team
You
quickly now.
don't need to worry, man, because you're gonna roll transfer this week. That's all. So you don't need to leave your team away, right?
Hi, Palmer. Okay, okay, all right.
All right. Thank you guys for watching and support us by subscribing to our FPL Jedi YouTube channel and follow us at our X. All right. So take care and see you again in the next stream. Bye bye.
Bye.